From sub 1K iRating to finishing on the lead lap, what real iRacing improvement actually looks like. Hey everybody, it is Graybeard Sim Racing content here. I'm Brian Belansky, and this is my latest installment of my videos on old to pro here. At least I'm hoping to get to pro at some point. Listen, I've dug myself a hole. I've made it pretty obvious here. When I started iRacing, I didn't really take it terribly seriously, and I have a below 1K iRating right now. I could go out and get myself a new account, but I think two things. One, I've got a lot of money invested in tracks and cars, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to give that up. And two, I've put myself in this hole. I think it's time for me to earn my way out. And that's part of the content that we're doing here. Having a great time trying. It is a long road. I am not very good. That's not true. I am getting a lot better. I've had a huge amount of improvements. I'll do another video on my spreadsheet here to show you what's happened since June or July when I started doing this again. But I really wanted to focus on getting into the IMSA endurance stuff. The GT3s is my jam, and I have decided to really focus on the Porsches. The Porsche GT3 R, which has been a really hard car for me to learn because I've never driven anything rear-wheel drive. Also, in the GT3 series, I have all new tracks to learn. So I'm learning a new car and new tracks. In addition to that, I have a B license, but we all know that getting a B license is not hard to do. You don't have to be really any good to get a B license. I've proven that. But now I want to be good enough, or at least as good as I think you should be to have that B license. And I'm focusing on the GT3s, and here is what turns out to be, in this journey, my best sim race ever. We are in qualifying here. It is the Sachsenring? Maybe I should learn how to say that here. And I have got a couple of really interesting things. I've qualified 10th here, a couple cars behind me, and it's not a huge, it's only 2 splits on this race, and I'm in the second split, obviously. And what's interesting here is that here's the start here, and you can see that BMW. I'm not quite so sure that was the most legal of starts. I'm sure it was legal, but whether it was fair or not, there I am in the orange car there as we get towards the back here, and I drop right away down to, I think, about 13th or 14th here early in this race. Race ends up being about 19 laps. Oh, there's one car going off there at the end, so that's one less competitor that I have to worry about. I've had a big amount of struggles here in this GT3 car, and part of it is the fact that the car is just completely foreign to me. I've spent time in a lot of Mazda stuff here so far. That's been my main car. And then my sim racing endurance team, the Thursday Night Sim Racing League, we have focused a lot on the the McLaren over the last couple of years. So I have a lot of laps in that car. But I want to do some Porsche Cup stuff, and the GT3 Porsche wildly popular here, especially after the update. So the team decided to go to the Porsche, and that is what I have been working on. I've also decided in my journey, I've taken the advice to really focus on a very small number of cars. So the cars I'm going to focus on are this GT3 Porsche, the Mazda MX-5 Cup car, which I've been playing with for a long time, the Formula V, which I do a league in on Saturdays, and of course the those are the 3. And I'm also going to start working a little bit on the Super Formula Lights car because I want to up my Formula car rankings as well. So early on in this race, here has been my struggle so far. First of all, stupid mistakes. There's a little mistake here as I go a little bit wide, but I keep it on the racetrack here. My big problem in all of my iRacing, all of my sim racing journey so far, is making that big mistake in every race that has made me go off, get some damage early, or even just bin the car completely. And here is going to be part of my success story in this race. I have finally gotten to the point on the Porsche where I'm pretty comfortable with how the car reacts and operates. I've kind of learned how to get it through the first lap or two now on cold tires. And forgive my mouse. I'm not really good at this recording of stuff off of iRacing yet, so forgive my mouse here. But the one thing that's really the positive I'm taking away from this race, and it's these little tiny tiny victories that add up to be big wins for me here. But if you notice the cars in front of me, they are not just driving away from me. Yes, they're pulling away, and yes, they're faster than me, but I am doing a somewhat good job keeping pace here with the group of mid-pack or back-to-the-pack cars, where in a month ago, these cars would just be driving away from me for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't have the pace, but two, I'd be making a decent-sized mistake every single lap. So leading up to this race, the other thing I've done here, which I haven't done in the past, is I've focused on really the first 3 or 4 days of the week just practicing this car and practicing this track, because I'm learning all these tracks for the first time. Never been on this track before 4 days ago. And my first laps in this track, just learning where the track went, were 15-20 seconds off the pace here. And now I'm 2 or 3 or 4 seconds off the pace, which for me is a huge win. And as I'm learning here on the splits that I'm going to be in, not necessarily competitive even up front in my splits, although this is a pretty high iRating strength of field. And the reason is I'm doing this on the Saturday of the Roar. So a lot of the best drivers in these cars are playing in the Roar today. So I'm kind of got easy pickings. This is kind of like low-hanging fruit for me. But that was the situation here in this race. So there's only 2 splits. That's how many drivers signed up for this particular race. I am in the second split. And you will notice that you can see the cars in front of me not just pulling away. And I'm like thinking to myself, what is going on here? Have I figured out something? Have I unlocked just a little bit? Now take a look at these cars in front here. This pack of 6 or 7 cars, my hope is that some of these drivers start making some mistakes, and that's where I am going to pick up some spaces here. As you can see here, I'm sticking to the back of the pack, and I can actually see from my cockpit that there is some stuff going on up front here, and it will develop here in just a few seconds, maybe a minute or so. We'll keep an eye on this thing here. Also want to take an opportunity while I am doing this, I want to pull up the stats from this iRacing race. So I'm going to do that while I'm talking here, and I probably should have done this before I started recording, but I'm going to do it on the fly, because why the heck not, right? Give me just a second here. You guys enjoy the racing here, and you can see, I can see right now that this is developing up here, and I'm watching this from back where I'm at, and it is pretty interesting to me what's going on here. And now you're going to see at some point in time there is what I believe is a McLaren and a Porsche. They're going to get a little bit argy-bargy here, and I'm going to get a chance to take advantage of that situation, I think. Let me open up the results here. So here we go. Get a little close, and I can see these cars coming kind of closer to me, and I can tell that they're messing around up there because their pace is all slow just a little bit as they start to get racy. That's allowed me to catch in. I'm looking at this BMW, and I'm saying to myself, I know I'm a little faster than this BMW in a couple of sections, and he's also being held up by the car in front of him as well. So we're waiting to see how this thing plays out here. And the car that is gonna, the 2 cars are gonna, and I'll get to them in a second here, but as we come here through this section, this is a really cool, this Sachsenring, really cool racetrack, very fast. The track guides, oh, here it is. There is the little moment there, and oh, that car gets popped off onto the side. Now, I at first thought that this whole thing was just on the Porsche driver, and that was the driver who was going to be problematic. This is Mark, let's see, what's his name here? Mark Prosenmer. He's got in the blue Porsche, and then right behind him is the is it the Lamborghini? Which one is it? Anyway, but as we look here at the replays, you're going to see that I think this is kind of an equal. And you see there, I have to bail out because I don't know what's going on there. I do not want to ruin my race here as they come through here. But the 15 car is the, let's see, 15 is Robert Noker is the guy in the McLaren. And I'm going to call this both together. Oh, there I am trying to get through. Oh, I'm coming up here in just a second here. I am the fourth car in line here. They get to do all of their little argy-bargy. I decide right now, ooh, I'm going to back out just to let this car go, and you will see what happens a little further down here as we cut back to our live action here. A couple more angles here. That one, look at that save. What a great save there, by the way, by that driver, Mark Prosomer. But fantastic bit of car control, either luck or car control, I'm not exactly sure, but then you can see the guy getting binned here, and that is Robert Noker. He'll come back into play here a little later in the race with me in particular, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And you can see here, this is a couple of different cameras. I got camera angle happy here, folks, because this was the one thing that happened right in front of me. I was really fascinated to see what happened, who might have been at fault, what they could have done better. After the first bump, I think this just became two guys who were trying to do a little payback and junky racing, in my opinion. Not as bad as some of the other stuff we've seen in recent weeks on iRacing, where people have just been awful and waited around and done some really malicious stuff. This is more of a in the heat of the moment thing, and it is what it is. But and now we're back with me. Now that's the car right in front of me. I have backed out here and waited to let these guys do their racing. So that is the Porsche that was in the incident here in front of me. I don't know if there's much damage to that car. I don't know what the situation is, but I do know coming up here for the next few corners that I am at least as quick as he is at this moment. I think he's a faster driver overall, but there might be some damage on the car, whatever the case may be. He may be a little tensed up over the situation and a little up in arms and got a little bit of emotion going on, and emotional driving is a big problem for some people. But I know right now that I am doing enough to at least keep up with him. And I think I'm actually a little bit faster here. He goes a little bit wide. I slow down a little too much going into that corner. But I am looking here for opportunities to pounce. And for me right now, all of that stuff that happened around me earlier is stuff in previous races in the last couple of months that I would get anxious. I would get caught up in the moment, and then I would make a mistake. I would either want to get out of the way or not stick my nose in, or whatever the case may be. And in an effort to be overly safe, I would do something stupid or get someone behind me who wasn't expecting the move I made. They'd run into me, or whatever the case may be. Part of that was I lacked pace. Now my pace is a little bit better, and part of it is I didn't have confidence in the cars I was driving, and now I'm on the rig more and more. I'm starting to get a whole lot more confidence, and I can see right now that it doesn't look like it at the moment, but I can tell at this moment that I've got some pace here, and there's going to be an opportunity potentially. And this guy's been a little erratic in his driving, so I know there's a potential mistake in this guy as well. So we're watching this now to see what the situation is, and you see me trying to stay as close as I possibly can, kind of waiting for this guy to make another mistake. And I don't know that I could pass him on pace, but at this point I'm like, he's potentially going to make a mistake here. Other thing I'm learning throughout this race, and of course while all that's happening, I got this other car behind me. I don't remember which one this is. I think this might be the Lamborghini right behind me. So I'm looking at the guy in front of me. I'm keeping an eye on my mirror to keep the guy behind me. He's definitely a little faster than me. And one of the things I've promised myself while I'm learning these cars and I'm racing is I'm not going to be unaggressive, but there's the mistake right there, and I get to drive right past, and now I only have the one car behind me who I know is a little bit faster. One of the things I vowed while I'm still in the learning mode is that if there's a car that's actually faster, even if it is for position, I will try to defend a little bit. But if I know that they really have the better pace, I'm not going to give them too much of a hard time. But here's what I am going to do. I am going to try to take advantage of the draft as he gets past me here and moves into that next spot up here. One of the other things I'm learning by going back and watching this entire race, which I haven't really done before, I've learned so much about what I did right and what I did wrong here. I am doing a much better job now of using the entire racetrack. I'm using a lot of the curbs. I'm using curbs on the exit. That also is what happens when the pace is coming. Now look at the car behind me, folks. That is the guy who was a little bit out there earlier got involved in an earlier incident. He did make a mistake, but he didn't bin it, and now he's back on it. And I am knowing that he is erratic, not terribly consistent, but he is faster than me. So, and he also took out a car earlier and got into a whole bunch of side-by-side stuff that I don't want to be part of here. So my goal in these races is to raise my iRating, keep my safety rating up, and, you know, not do anything overly aggressive or overly stupid. And if I see someone around me who I know has the potential of being a little bit not what I want to be around, I'm going to keep that in mind as they get closer. And when I decide whether or not I'm going to push hard to stay in front or defend, that is going to go to my process here. And I do think he's faster because I can see it in my mirror, and I watched him for many laps. So, but he does make a ton of mistakes. I think there's another one coming up here as we get down and going into this section here. Really fun racetrack, especially once I figured it out. Big shout out to the track guides that I've been watching. The two I spend a lot of time on. And if you do the GT3 series, I know they cover a bunch of the cars. Most of the time they've got the Porsche Get Good Racing and the Sambo Racing track guides. Those are the two that I have worked real hard with as well. And I'm starting to do a little bit of telemetry work, which I've never done. That's going to be the next kind of step for me to learn how to read the telemetry and learn from that. Here's the other thing I'm learning from my growth process in these cars, and I think this is a big thing that was hurting my pace, and I still need to get a lot better at it, is I was doing, every time I'd hit the brakes, I was going full in on the brakes. And I'm starting to realize that sometimes it's just, and these track guides help me with this, I only need to put 25% of brake into it. Here's a good situation here, a good spot right here. Not a good time because I'm following a car and trying to defend or trying to decide whether I'm going to stick my nose back in. But that's a spot. Here's a spot right here. I would normally just jam on the brakes right there. First of all, it screws up the people behind me because they're not expecting me to do it. But second of all, brushing way too much speed off here. Here's another situation going into this turn. I'm only about 50% brake here. In the past, I would just jam on that brake. I'm also learning trail braking, and I'm learning that's a particular corner where trail braking was really important here. So coming up here on the last probably five laps of this race, but now this particular car, Mark Prossimer, has gotten past me, and I'm not going to catch him again here. Spoiler alert. But I do know that, and I think we're going to get to a little speed up moment here. He's still going real wide in some areas as well, so definitely having some issues. But I'm keeping an eye on that. Still trying to, and this, I also start to make a little bit of, not big mistakes, but a little bigger mistakes here in this, probably the last two or three of the last 5 laps. I made a significant mistake. Now we get to a little section where I'm just kind of lapping around trying to get to the end. So we're going to go into fast forward mode here for a few laps before we get to our final laps. And then I'm also, and once we slow down here, I've got some other cool camera angles that I'm going to talk over. Learning how to do these replays on iRacing. It's been fun and interesting. I hope you're enjoying it. If you are, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a ton more content like this coming out over the next several years. Also, beware, we're on Twitch. You can check me out on Twitch. It is Graybeard Sim Racer on Twitch. We also have a Discord community. I'd love to have you in the Discord community. Here's a couple of the other camera angles here, which I'm showing you here. But check out our Discord community. Love that. I'm doing a world tour. I've decided that I'm going to drive every car and every track on iRacing. It's more than 300 cars and tracks. So if you, and it's going to take probably 2 or 3 years to do it. At some point in time, I'm hoping to get the thing sponsored so that I can get people to come in. I'll do a hosted session on all of these, get some people to drive the session with me, and one of the people who drive the session with me, if all goes well, every week will get enough of an iRacing gift card so that they can get a new track. And maybe iRacing, if you're listening, you could donate the gift cards, or if there is if there are any sponsors out there who would like to do that, that would be awesome to have you on that as well. So here's one of the things I learned to go really wide here going into one. That's from one of the track guides. I think that was the Get Good track guide. Gave me that little tip there. So check that out as well. Also want to take an opportunity here to thank the sponsor of this video, Full Send Sims. Full Send Sims, turnkey sim systems. If you really want to take your sim racing to the next level, they have absolutely fantastic service, white glove service, and they are really great guys. Love working with them. So check them out, Full Send Sims. All of their information will be in the show notes. So I'm getting ready here in the last few laps of this race, and I'm just, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, I've unlocked something. You know, it is, oh, and that's the one thing I want to see out in the distance. I told you he'd come back. That is Robert Knockler. He is the guy who was involved in that first incident that we went and kind of dissected there. He is 3 laps down. He had to go in and get the car fixed, but he is back on the racetrack, and I know he's faster than I am. And he is, unlike the Porsche, really consistent also. So I think that he probably didn't want to get involved with what he got involved in there, but he is really consistent. I know he's faster. He's also 3 laps down, so there's absolutely no reason for me to fight with this guy. So I let him go without any issues at all, get back into my line. And that's me also trying to be more cognizant of who's around me and knowing that a car is not my battle and let it go. So I should get the music in and pay Disney the licensing fee to use that here. So, but that was one of those things, no reason for me to fight that car also, but it's also good to get behind him, learn a little bit, hopefully, from that car. So, coming up on the final few corners here, I think there's one more lap to go after this one. And here is the deal for me, folks, and why this is the best iRace of my life, considering the fact that I'm only going to finish in 12th place, even though I finished 10th, finishing 12th. This is why this is the biggest race and the best race of my iRacing career, or my sim racing career. I've got some pace now. The cars didn't just automatically drive away from me. Yes, they were faster than me, but I am really getting closer on pace. Secondly, I am being more consistent with my lines. I'm not as much of a danger to the cars behind me who don't know who's in front, and that I am a little bit slower. I'm really doing a better job of learning these tracks and where to make pace on them. There is the last lap of the race here, and that's that. So a big win for me, and really excited about it. I didn't make any big mistakes. The little mistakes I didn't have to make big corrections. They didn't cost me a whole lot. I never went full off track, so I didn't lose any time there. I finished on the lead lap in a GT3 race. That is just awesome for me. So that is the way it is. So like, subscribe. Thanks for checking us out. I hope you had fun with it. There'll be a whole lot more in the way of these kind of videos on the channel. And you guys have yourself a great day. I'm Brian Belansky. It's sim racing content, Graybeard Sim Racer here on the Racing Network. Have yourself a great day. Stay safe. Either go play with your car or go play on your sim.